"Sir, step away from the vehicle," the officer said, hand resting on his belt as rain hammered the hood. Marcus didn't move. The engine was still running. Heat barely pushed back the cold. In the back seat, the woman curled into herself, shaking like the storm had followed her inside. Bare feet. Mud on her ankles. Not normal. Marcus tightened his grip on the wheel. "She's not trouble," he said quietly. The officer leaned closer, flashlight cutting through the cabin. It hit her face for a second. She flinched hard. Too hard. Like light itself was a threat. Something wasn't right. "We've had reports," the officer said. Woman matching her description. Marcus felt his chest tighten. "Reports of what?" The woman whispered something then. So low it almost disappeared under the rain. "Don't let them take me." Marcus blinked. He didn't know her. Didn't know her name. But that voice didn't sound drunk. Or lost. It sounded scared in a way that stayed. The officer tapped the window. "Sir, open the door." Marcus didn't reach for the handle. Not yet. His eyes flicked to the rearview mirror. She was watching him now. Silent. Waiting. That look didn't ask for help. It expected a decision. A bad one. A final one. Marcus exhaled slowly. Then he shook his head. "She's coming home with me." The officer's jaw tightened. That didn't go over well. For a second, no one moved. Just rain. Just breath. Then the officer stepped back. Not convinced. Not satisfied. "This isn't over," he said. Marcus nodded once. He knew. He pulled away before the man could say more. Tires rolled through shallow water. The streetlights blurred into streaks. He didn't look back. He shouldn't have done that. But he did. The house came into view 10 minutes later. Small. One story. Paint worn at the edges. Porch light flickering like it always did. Safe enough. Usually. He killed the engine. The silence hit immediately. Heavy. The woman didn't move. "You can come in," he said. No response. Just her eyes again. Studying everything. Measuring. He stepped out first. Opened the back door slowly. Gave space. She hesitated. Then stepped onto the wet pavement. She swayed once. Barely caught herself. Not weak. Just off balance. Like she wasn't used to ground. Inside, the house smelled like detergent and old wood. Warm air. Soft light. His daughter looked up from the couch. Cartoon glow flickering across her face. "Dad?" she asked. Then she saw the woman. Paused. No fear. Just curiosity. Kids notice things adults ignored. She stood. Walked over. Grabbed a blanket without asking. Handed it up. The woman stared at it like it meant something more. Then slowly took it. Wrapped it tight around her shoulders. Her hands were trembling. Not from cold. Marcus noticed that. That kind of shaking came from somewhere else. The TV kept playing in the background. Low volume. Easy to ignore. Until it wasn't. Authorities are still searching. Marcus froze mid-step. The woman's head snapped toward the sound. Too fast. Too precise. Last seen late evening, the camera flashed a photo for less than a second. But it was enough. Marcus felt it in his chest before his mind caught up. Same face. Same eyes. Just cleaner. Composed. Different world. He didn't say anything. Neither did she. But the room had changed. Completely. Outside, something crunched on the gravel. Not one set of tires. More than that. Marcus slowly turned his head toward the window. The porch light flickered again. Then held steady. And the shadows outside weren't empty anymore. The gravel outside did not stop crunching. It multiplied. Marcus held his breath without realizing it. One set of headlights became two. Then three. Then more. They did not rush. They rolled in slow. Controlled. Like they already knew where they were going. His daughter looked up at him again. "Dad, who is that?" she whispered. Marcus did not answer. He stepped closer to the window but stayed just out of sight. The woman behind him went completely still. Not shaking now. That was new. Her fingers tightened around the blanket. Too tight. She knew something. That much was clear. The TV kept murmuring behind them, but no one listened anymore. Outside, engines idled low. Doors opened. Not slammed. Opened carefully. That detail stuck. Marcus counted shadows moving across the yard. 4. Maybe 5. All in dark coats. Too clean for this street. Too precise. One of them stepped forward toward the porch. The flickering light caught his face for a second. Calm. Focused. Not police. Marcus felt it instantly. Different kind of authority. The kind that did not ask twice. A soft knock followed. Not loud. Not aggressive. But it carried weight. Marcus did not move. Another knock. Same rhythm. Patient. Like they could wait all night. His daughter shifted closer to him. He placed a hand on her shoulder. Grounding her. Grounding himself. "Stay behind me," he said quietly. His voice stayed steady. That surprised him. The woman took one step back. Then another. Until her shoulders touched the wall. Her eyes locked on the door. Wide. Alert. Not confused anymore. Something had changed in her. The man outside spoke through the wood. "We know she is inside." Calm voice. No anger. That was worse. Marcus glanced at the woman. She shook her head once. Sharp. Immediate. No hesitation. A silent no. Not a suggestion. A warning. Marcus swallowed. His mind moved fast now. If they knew, then this was bigger than a coincidence. Bigger than a missing person report. His eyes flicked to the back hallway. One exit. Narrow. Not ideal. He looked back at the door. The knock came again. Slightly firmer. Still controlled. "Sir, we are not here to cause problems," the voice continued. "We just need to speak with her." Marcus almost laughed at that. Almost. The woman's breathing picked up again. Not panic. Calculation. She stepped closer to him now. Close enough that he could hear her whisper. "If they take me, I disappear." Marcus felt something shift in his chest. That was not fear talking. That was certainty. Outside, one of the men moved to the side window. Not peeking in. Just positioning. Strategic. Marcus noticed everything now. The spacing. The timing. These were not random people. His daughter tugged lightly at his sleeve. "Dad," he looked down. Her eyes were searching his face. Trusting him to know what to do. That part hit harder than anything outside. Marcus exhaled slowly. Then he made a choice. He turned toward the door. The woman's hand shot out and caught his wrist. Fast. Stronger than he expected. He paused. Their eyes met. Up close, he saw it clearly now. Not confusion. Not weakness. Control. Buried under layers, but still there. She was not just running. She was choosing where to stop. Marcus gently pulled his wrist free. Not rough. Just enough. Then he stepped forward. The floor creaked under his weight. Loud in the silence. The knock did not come again. They were waiting now. He reached for the handle. Stopped. His reflection stared back at him in the small glass pane. Tired eyes. Worn face. Not a man built for this kind of night. But here it was. Behind him, the television volume shifted slightly. Just enough to catch a new line. Unconfirmed reports suggest internal involvement. Marcus froze for half a second. Internal. That word hung in the air. The woman heard it too. He did not turn around, but he felt it. The tension behind him sharpened. Something clicked into place. Not everything. Just enough. Marcus slowly unlocked the door. The sound was louder than it should have been. The handle turned under his grip. He opened it halfway. Just enough to see the man on the porch clearly. Up close, the man looked even more composed. Expensive coat. No badge. No visible weapon. Just confidence. Good evening, the man said. We appreciate your cooperation. Marcus did not respond. Not yet. The man's eyes shifted past him for a fraction of a second. Toward the inside. Toward her. Then back. A small detail. But Marcus caught it. She needs to come with us, the man added. Same calm tone. Same control. Marcus leaned slightly against the doorframe. Blocking more of the view inside. And if she does not, he asked. The man paused. Just briefly. Then something in his expression changed. Not anger. Not frustration. Recognition. Like he had just understood something about Marcus. Something useful. The man stepped a fraction closer. Not crossing the line. Not yet. Then this becomes more complicated than it already is, he said quietly. Marcus held his gaze. The night felt heavier now. The air thicker. Behind him, the woman took one slow step forward. He could hear it. Soft. Careful. She was not hiding anymore. And that was when Marcus realized, they were not the only ones listening. Marcus did not step aside. Not even an inch. The man on the porch noticed. His eyes flicked once to Marcus's shoulder, measuring distance, then back to his face. Calm. Too calm. You are making this harder than it needs to be, the man said softly. Marcus leaned his weight into the doorframe. Solid. Unmoving. Seems like it was already hard before I got involved, he replied. The man studied him for a second longer. Not annoyed. Interested. That was worse. Behind Marcus, the woman took another step forward. Slow. Deliberate. Her bare feet made no sound on the wood floor. But Marcus felt it. The air shifted again. His daughter stayed close, fingers gripping the back of his shirt. She did not speak now. She understood enough to stay quiet. Outside, one of the men moved slightly to the left. Another adjusted his stance near the window. They were closing angles without saying a word. Marcus caught it. Every inch of it. This was not a simple pickup. This was a retrieval. The man on the porch exhaled once, like he was resetting the conversation. Sir, we are not here for you, he said. We only want her. Marcus almost smiled at that. Almost. He glanced back over his shoulder. The woman was closer now. Close enough that the porch light brushed her face. Clearer this time. Not the same as the photo on the television. Not fragile. Not lost. Something sharper lived under her expression. Something trained. She met his eyes for a brief second. Then she looked past him. Toward the man outside. No fear. Just calculation. Marcus turned back. She is not going anywhere, he said. The words came out steady. Even. He surprised himself again. The man's head tilted slightly. A small movement. But it carried weight. You do not understand what you are stepping into, he replied. Marcus nodded once. That might be true. A pause. Rain softened around them. Engine still idled. But I understand enough. Silence stretched. The kind that made small sounds louder. The ticking of the porch light. The hum of the television. The faint shift of someone's shoe on gravel. Then the man took a half step closer. Still outside. Still polite. Then let me help you understand, he said. His voice dropped. Slightly. More private now. There are people looking for her who will not knock. Marcus felt that line land. Hard. Not a threat. A fact. That made it worse. His grip tightened on the door. Behind him, the woman's breathing stayed controlled. Not rushed. Not panicked. She was listening to every word. Measuring them. Just like Marcus. His daughter shifted again. Dad, she whispered. He placed his hand over hers. Gentle. Reassuring. Even if he was not sure himself. The man noticed that too. His eyes flicked down briefly. Then back up. Something changed again. Subtle. You have a child, the man said. Not a question. Marcus did not respond. The man nodded slowly, as if confirming something in his own mind. Then you should know, he continued, this situation does not stay contained. Another pause. Longer this time. Marcus felt the weight of that sentence settle into the room behind him. It reached the woman too. He could feel it. The way she shifted her stance. Not retreating. Not advancing. Just, preparing. Outside, a second set of headlights appeared at the end of the street. Different angle. Different sound. Marcus's eyes flicked past the man's shoulder. The newcomer did not slow down as much. That detail stood out. The man on the porch noticed it too. His jaw tightened for the first time. Barely. But enough. He turned his head slightly, listening. The other men outside adjusted. Faster this time. Less smooth. That calm control cracked for a second. Something was changing. Marcus felt it before he understood it. The woman behind him stepped forward again. Now she was almost at his side. Close enough that he could hear her whisper. Those are not his people. Marcus's eyes sharpened. The man on the porch looked back at him. The calm was still there, but thinner now. Stretched. We are running out of time, he said quietly. Marcus did not move. Not yet. Not until he understood one thing. He looked straight at the man and asked, who exactly are you protecting her from? The man opened his mouth to answer. Then stopped. Just for a fraction of a second. But that hesitation said everything Marcus needed to know. Because whatever answer he was about to give, someone else had just arrived to make sure he never said it. The second car did not slow as it pulled into view. Its headlights cut across the yard at a sharper angle, brighter, colder. Different. Marcus felt it before anyone spoke. The man on the porch turned his head fully this time. No more pretending. No more calm mask. Just a brief, tight calculation. That was the first crack. That is not part of our arrangement, the man muttered, almost to himself. Marcus caught it. Arrangement. Not rescue. Not safety. Something else. Behind him, the woman stepped forward until she stood beside his shoulder. Close now. Close enough to face the door with him. Her posture had changed completely. No more shrinking. No more hesitation. She stood upright, eyes locked on the yard. Watching the new arrivals. Measuring them. The second vehicle stopped hard. Engine still running. The door opened faster than the others had. Not controlled. Not careful. A man stepped out. Taller. Broader. His coat hung open, moving slightly in the wind. He did not wait for anyone else. He walked straight toward the house. Direct line. No pause. That detail hit Marcus immediately. This one did not ask permission. The men already on the lawn shifted again. Subtle, but different. Their spacing tightened. Their heads turned toward the newcomer, not Marcus. Not the house. That said everything. Marcus glanced at the first man. The calm was gone now. Not fully. But enough. You need to let her go. Now, the man said quietly. Urgency had replaced patience. Marcus did not move. You said you were here to help, he replied. The man exhaled once. Sharp. I am. But not if they get to her first. There it was. Not denial. Not reassurance. Just a different fear. Behind Marcus, his daughter's grip tightened again. He felt it through the fabric. Small fingers. Trusting. The weight of it grounded him. The woman beside him leaned in slightly. Just enough for him to hear. He is telling the truth, she whispered. Marcus blinked once. That was not what he expected. He turned his head a fraction. Then why are you not going with him? He asked under his breath. She did not answer immediately. Her eyes stayed on the man. Walking up the driveway. Because he is not the one making the decisions, she said. That landed heavier than anything else so far. Outside, the second man reached the edge of the porch. He did not stop at the bottom step. He came up without hesitation. One step. Then another. Close now. Too close. The first man turned to face him fully. Blocking the direct line to the door. You were not invited, he said. Calm again. But thinner. The second man smiled slightly. Not friendly. Not hostile. Just, certain. Neither were you, he replied. His voice carried differently. Less polished. More direct. Marcus felt the shift immediately. This was not one group. This was two. And they were not aligned. The air between them tightened. Not loud. Not chaotic. Just dense. Like something waiting to snap. The woman beside Marcus took a slow breath. Controlled. Her hands stopped trembling completely now. That detail stood out. She was not afraid of the moment. She was preparing for it. Marcus noticed that. And it changed something inside him. The first man stepped slightly to the side. Not retreating. Adjusting. Creating a narrow line of sight past him. Toward the door. Toward Marcus. Toward her. You are out of time, he said quietly, not taking his eyes off the newcomer. Marcus felt that sentence settle deep. He looked at the second man. Really looked this time. The way he stood. The way his eyes moved. Quick. Sharp. Not scanning for danger. Tracking something specific. Tracking her. The second man's gaze finally met Marcus's. Held it for a second. Then shifted. Past him. Into the house. Straight to her. No hesitation. No doubt. He knew exactly who he was looking for. You have something that does not belong here, the second man said. His tone was even. Not loud. But it carried. Marcus felt his pulse pick up. Behind him, the woman stepped half a step closer to the door. Not hiding. Not retreating. I am not something, she said. Her voice cut through the space clean. The first time she had spoken to them directly. Both men reacted. Slightly. But enough. The second man's expression changed first. Recognition. Then something else. Something like relief. The first man's jaw tightened again. That reaction was different. He had expected silence. Not this. Marcus felt it all at once. The imbalance. The tension. The fact that neither side fully controlled what was happening anymore. And right in the center of it, stood the woman in his house. The second man took one more step forward. Close enough now that the porch light hit his face clearly. Older than Marcus thought. Eyes sharper than the rest. You should not have stopped running, he said to her. The woman did not step back. Did not flinch. She just looked at him. Calm. Steady. I did not stop, she replied. A beat passed. Then she added, softer, I chose where to stand. Marcus felt that line hit something deep. Outside, the engines were still running. The lights were still on. But the night had shifted again. Completely. Because now it was no longer about who had found her first. It was about who she would walk toward. No one moved first. Not the men outside. Not Marcus. Not even the wind. The porch light hummed above them, steady now, casting sharp edges across every face. The woman stood at Marcus's side, no longer behind him. That detail changed everything. The second man watched her closely. Not like a stranger. Like someone who had been looking for her for a long time. You are making this harder than it needs to be, he said again, softer this time. But now the words were aimed at her, not Marcus. She tilted her head slightly. Studying him. You always say that, she replied. A flicker crossed his face. Recognition again. Deeper this time. Marcus caught it. This was history. Not coincidence. The first man shifted his stance on the porch. Subtle. Controlled. But his eyes stayed locked on the second man now. Not her. Not Marcus. That said enough. You should not be here, the first man said. His tone carried warning now. The second man did not look at him. Not even once. And yet I am, he answered. Simple. Final. Marcus felt the balance shift again. Two sides. One target. And somehow, she was standing in the middle without fear. That part did not make sense. His daughter pressed closer into his side. He felt her breathing. Quick. Uneven. He placed his hand over hers again. Slow. Grounding. It is okay, he whispered. He was not sure if he believed that. The woman took one small step forward. Just enough to stand fully in the doorway now. Visible. Exposed. The porch light hit her clearly. Her face looked different than before. Not softer. Sharper. Awake. The second man's shoulders relaxed slightly when he saw her move. Not relief. Something more controlled. Like a plan falling back into place. The first man noticed that too. His jaw tightened again. "You do not understand what they want from you," he said to her quickly. The woman did not take her eyes off the second man. "I understand more than you think," she replied. Calm. Even. No hesitation. Marcus felt a quiet weight settle in his chest. She was not guessing. She knew something. Outside, one of the cars idled louder for a moment. Then steadied again. The sound filled the silence just enough to remind everyone how many people were out there. Too many. The second man took one step closer. Now he stood just at the edge of the doorway. Close enough that Marcus could see the lines around his eyes. Older. Tired. But sharp. Very sharp. "You are out of time," he said again. But this time, there was no edge. Just certainty. The woman exhaled slowly. Her shoulders lowered just a fraction. Not surrender. Decision. Marcus saw it. The moment it happened. Something in her settled. Like she had been waiting for this exact point. She turned her head slightly toward Marcus. Their eyes met. For the first time, there was something softer there. Not fear. Not calculation. Something closer to trust. It lasted only a second. Then it was gone. "You should not be involved in this," she said quietly. Marcus almost laughed. Not out loud. Just in his chest. "Bit late for that," he replied. She nodded once. Small. Acknowledging. Then she looked back at the man outside. "If I go with you," she said, "this ends here." The question hung in the air. Heavy. The second man did not answer immediately. That pause mattered. Marcus felt it. The first man reacted first. "Do not ask him that," he said sharply. That was the first real break in his control. The second man finally spoke. "It ends for them," he said. Not the same answer. Not even close. Marcus caught that instantly. So did she. Her eyes narrowed slightly. "That is not what I asked," she replied. The second man held her gaze. Unblinking. "It is the only answer I can give." Silence followed. Thicker than before. Marcus felt his pulse in his ears now. Something about this did not sit right. Not with either of them. Behind him, the television volume shifted again. A news anchor's voice cut through faintly. "Sources suggest a corporate dispute." Marcus's eyes flicked toward the screen for half a second. Corporate. Dispute. That word echoed. The woman heard it too. He saw it in the way her posture changed. Slight. But real. A piece of something clicking into place. The first man noticed that shift immediately. "You cannot trust him," he said quickly. "Urgent now. You know what happens if you go back." The woman did not respond. Not right away. Her eyes stayed on the second man. Searching. Measuring. Then she took one step forward. Just one. Out onto the porch. Into the light. Marcus felt the air leave his chest. Not because she was leaving. But because she was choosing. The second man did not move. He waited. That was the detail that mattered most. He was letting her decide. The first man stepped forward slightly. Not enough to block. But enough to show tension. "Think carefully," he said. Low. Controlled again. The woman stood between them now. Literally between them. Marcus stayed in the doorway. Watching. Listening. Trying to understand a story that had clearly started long before tonight. The woman looked at one man. Then the other. Then back at Marcus for just a second. That look said more than words. Then she turned forward again. And opened her mouth to speak, but something behind Marcus shifted first. The shift behind Marcus was small, but it cut through everything. A soft click. Metal on wood. His daughter had locked the back door. No one told her to. She just did it. Marcus glanced over his shoulder for a split second. She stood there, small hands still on the latch, eyes wide but steady. She understood more than she should. That detail landed hard. The woman on the porch noticed it too. A faint flicker crossed her face. Not fear. Something closer to recognition. Like she had seen that kind of instinct before. Then it was gone. The moment snapped back. The night pressed in again. The second man shifted his weight slightly. Waiting. Always waiting. That patience was controlled. Practiced. The first man did not like it. His posture tightened. "You are running out of options," he said. But now the words felt thinner. Less certain. The woman did not respond to him. Her attention stayed forward. Focused. Marcus stepped half a step closer to the doorway. Not blocking her. Not pulling her back. Just there. Present. That choice mattered. He felt it. The second man noticed it too. His eyes flicked to Marcus for a brief second. Measuring again. Then back to her. "Come with me," he said. No extra words. No explanation. Just that. The woman exhaled slowly. Her shoulders lowered another fraction. Not giving in. Narrowing in. "If I do," she said, "what happens to them?" She did not look back when she said it. But everyone knew who she meant. Marcus felt the weight of that question hit the space between them. The second man paused again. That pause stretched longer this time. Long enough to matter. "They go back to their lives," he said finally. Simple. Clean. Marcus did not believe it. Not fully. The woman did not either. It showed in her eyes. A slight narrowing. A shift in focus. The first man stepped forward a fraction. Urgency breaking through again. "That is not true," he said quickly. "You know it is not." The second man did not react to him. Not outwardly. But something in his jaw tightened. Barely. The woman caught that. Marcus caught it too. The silence that followed felt heavier than any words. Then the woman moved again. One more step forward. Now she stood fully outside. On the porch. Between them. The night air brushed against her. She did not shiver. That detail stood out. Marcus remained at the doorway. Close enough to reach her. Far enough to let her stand on her own. That balance mattered. His daughter stayed behind him. Quiet. Watching everything. The television in the background shifted again. Another voice. Another line. Board members under investigation. Marcus's mind caught on that. Board members. Not just a missing person. Not just a dispute. Something bigger. The woman heard it too. He saw it in the way her head tilted slightly. Just a fraction. Another piece clicking into place. The first man saw that change and stepped forward again. More direct this time. "You cannot fix this by going back," he said. "You already tried." That line hit differently. The woman's expression shifted. Not much. But enough. A shadow passed through her eyes. Memory. Real memory. Marcus felt it. This was not the first time she had made a choice like this. The second man finally reacted to that. "We are not here to revisit the past," he said. His tone sharpened slightly. "We are here to correct it." Correct. Not resolve. Not fix. Marcus caught that word immediately. So did she. The woman's gaze sharpened. Correction for who? She asked. The second man did not answer right away. Again. That pause. Always that pause. It said more than his words ever did. The first man took advantage of it. For them, he said quickly. Not for you. The tension snapped tighter. The two men stood facing each other now. No longer pretending this was controlled. No longer hiding the divide. The woman stood between them. Still. Centered. Thinking. Marcus watched her closely. Waiting for something. A sign. A decision. Her breathing stayed steady. Her posture firm. She was not lost anymore. Not even close. She turned her head slightly. Not toward the men. Toward Marcus. Just for a second. Their eyes met again. This time longer. There was no confusion there now. No hesitation. Just clarity. And something else. Something quiet. Something human. Then she turned back. The second man took one more step forward. Close enough now that the space between them felt thin. Fragile. We do not have time for this, he said. The woman nodded once. Slow. Deliberate. You are right, she said. Her voice was calm. Too calm for everything happening around her. That detail made Marcus's chest tighten. Because calm like that did not come from safety. It came from knowing something no one else did. She took a breath. Then another. Like she was settling into a decision she had already made. Marcus felt it before she spoke. The shift. The weight. The finality building under the surface. The men felt it too. Both of them. They went still at the same time. Waiting. Watching. The entire night seemed to pause with them. Even the engines outside sounded quieter. Like they were holding back. The woman looked at one man. Then the other. Then forward again. Straight ahead. And when she finally spoke, it was not to either of them. Marcus, she said, and her voice landed behind her, not in front. It pulled him forward without asking. He blinked once, caught off guard. She had not said his name before. Not once. Not even when she needed help. That detail hit hard. He stepped out onto the porch beside her. Not fully. Just enough. Close enough to feel the night air shift around them. The two men watched the movement. Both of them. The first man frowned slightly. The second man did not. He just observed. Always observing. You know my name, Marcus said quietly. Not accusing. Just stating it. The woman nodded once. Small. Controlled. I needed to, she replied. No explanation. Not yet. Marcus felt a strange calm settle in his chest. Not comfort. Something else. Like a line had just been crossed, and there was no going back. His daughter shifted behind him. He could feel her presence without turning. She was still there. Still watching. The woman took another breath. Then she spoke again. Neither of you gets to decide this, she said. Her voice was steady. Clear. It carried across the yard without effort. The first man stiffened. The second man's eyes narrowed slightly. Not anger. Focus. You already know how this ends, the second man said. You have seen it. The woman's gaze did not move. I have, she replied. That is why I am still standing here. That line landed differently. Marcus felt it. Not defiance. Certainty. The first man stepped forward again. Closer now. Then do not make the same mistake twice, he said. His voice dropped lower. Urgent. You cannot protect them by staying. Them. Marcus caught that word immediately. He glanced at the woman. Her jaw tightened just a fraction. So she heard it too. The second man exhaled slowly. Like he had reached the end of patience. This is not about protection, he said. This is about control. Control. The word hung in the air. Heavy. The woman finally shifted her gaze. From him. To Marcus. Just for a second. Long enough. That is the part they do not say out loud, she whispered. Marcus felt something settle in his chest again. Deeper this time. He did not understand the full story. Not even close. But he understood that part. He had seen control before. In different forms. Different places. It always sounded reasonable at first. The first man noticed the exchange. His eyes flicked between them. Calculating. You are putting him in danger, he said quickly. The woman turned back to him. He was already in danger the moment you knocked on that door, she replied. Clean. Direct. No hesitation. The first man stopped. That one line cut through his argument completely. The second man watched the moment closely. Then he took another step forward. Now he stood almost within reach. Not crossing the line. But close enough that the space between them felt thin. You are not thinking clearly, he said. His tone softened. Not threatening. Almost persuasive. That shift was deliberate. Marcus noticed it. So did she. The woman tilted her head slightly. Studying him. No, she said. I am thinking more clearly than I have in a long time. The silence that followed stretched. No one interrupted it. Even the engines outside seemed quieter now. Waiting. The woman stepped back half a step. Not retreating. Recentering. Then she turned her body slightly. Not toward either man. Toward the house. Toward Marcus. Toward the small space behind him where his daughter stood. That movement changed everything. The first man saw it immediately. His posture shifted again. Tension rising. The second man's expression hardened for the first time. Not much. But enough. Do not do this, he said. The woman did not look at him. Not anymore. Her attention stayed behind Marcus. On the doorway. On the small figure standing there. Watching. What is her name? The woman asked quietly. Marcus blinked again. The question felt out of place. Almost wrong in the middle of everything else. But it was not. Not to her. Lily, he answered. The name sat between them. Simple. Real. The woman nodded once. Slow. Thoughtful. Then she spoke again. Lily, she repeated softly, like she was committing it to memory. The second man stepped forward sharply this time. Just one step. But it broke the rhythm. This is not part of the conversation, he said. The woman turned her head slightly. Just enough to look at him again. It is now, she replied. The calm in her voice did not change. That was what made it heavier. The first man took a breath like he was about to speak again. Then stopped. Something in his expression shifted. Recognition. Not of her. Of the moment. Of what was about to happen. Marcus felt it too. The build. The edge of something turning. The woman stepped fully back now. Into the doorway. Into the house. into the space she had just claimed. The men outside did not follow. Not yet. That line still held. Barely. Marcus stayed where he was. Between both sides. Not fully with either. But no longer neutral. He understood that now. The woman looked at him once more. Direct. Clear. Then she said, "Close the door." Marcus did not move right away. The door stayed half open, the night still breathing through the gap. The two men stood there, waiting. Not rushing. Not forcing. That made it harder. Marcus felt the weight of the moment press into his chest. Then he closed the door. Slow. Firm. The latch clicked into place. The sound felt louder than it should have. Final. For a second, no one spoke. The house seemed to shrink around them. The hum of the refrigerator. The faint buzz of the porch light outside. His daughter exhaled softly behind him. She had been holding her breath. Marcus turned halfway, checking on her. She was still there. Still steady. But her eyes were searching his face again. Looking for answers he did not have. The woman stepped deeper into the room. The blanket slipped slightly from her shoulders. She did not adjust it. That detail stood out. She was no longer hiding. Marcus turned back fully now. Facing her. Really looking this time. "You know my name," he said again. Not accusing. Just grounding himself in. Something real. She nodded once. "Marcus Reed," she said quietly. The full name landed heavier. He had not told her that. Not tonight. Not ever. A small silence followed. Then she added, "And Lily." Marcus felt a tightness in his chest. Not fear. Something else. Recognition. She had been paying attention. The television murmured again in the background. "Executive disappearance remains under investigation." Marcus reached for the remote without looking and lowered the volume. The room needed less noise. Not more. The woman's eyes flicked to the screen for a second. Then back to him. Focused again. "Who are they?" Marcus asked. Simple question. Heavy answer. She did not respond immediately. She walked a few steps toward the small kitchen table. Ran her fingers lightly across the surface. Like she was grounding herself in something solid. Real. Then she turned back. "Two different answers to the same problem," she said. That was not enough. Marcus knew it. She knew it too. "And you?" he asked. She held his gaze. "I am the problem." The words came out calm. No drama. No weight added. That made them heavier. Marcus shook his head once. "That is not what I saw out there," he said. She almost smiled. Almost. It faded before it formed. "That is because you saw a moment," she replied. Not the whole picture. Lily stepped closer now. Quiet. Curious. Not afraid. She looked up at the woman. Studying her. Kids saw things differently. The woman noticed her again. This time longer. Softer. "Hi, Lily," she said gently. Lily did not answer right away. She just looked at her. Then she asked, "Are you in trouble?" The question landed in the center of the room. Honest. Simple. The woman blinked once. Then nodded. "Yes," she said. No hesitation. Lily thought about that. Really thought about it. Then she said, "Dad helps people in trouble." Marcus felt something shift in his chest again. The woman heard it too. He saw it in her eyes. A flicker. Something breaking through the control. Then she looked back at Marcus. "That is exactly why I should not be here," she said quietly. Marcus crossed his arms. Not defensive. Just steadying himself. "Too late for that," he replied. She exhaled slowly. Looked down at her hands for a second. Then back up. "The man who came second," she said, choosing her words carefully, "he represents the people who built everything I walked away from." Marcus listened. No interruptions. "And the first?" he asked. She hesitated. "Just a fraction." "He represents the people who want to take it all apart," she said. Marcus frowned slightly. That did not simplify anything. It made it worse. "And you?" he asked again. She held his gaze. This time longer. "I know how both sides work," she said. "And neither of them can afford to let me stay free." That landed deep. The room felt smaller again. Lily shifted closer to Marcus. He rested his hand on her shoulder, grounding both of them. Outside, the engines were still running. Waiting. Always waiting. The woman glanced toward the door. Just for a second. Measuring time. "They will not wait forever," she said. Marcus nodded. He already knew that. "Then we do not give them forever," he replied. She looked back at him. Something changed in her expression. Not surprise. Recognition. "You are not asking the right question," she said. Marcus raised an eyebrow slightly. "Then what is it?" he asked. She took a step closer. Close enough that her voice dropped lower. "More private. You should be asking why they are both afraid of what I might say," she whispered. Marcus felt a chill move through him. Not from the cold. From the weight of that idea. Lily looked between them. Confused. But listening. Always listening. The woman straightened slightly. Her posture shifting again. Back into that controlled stillness. "Because once it is said," she added softly, "none of them stay in control." The room fell silent again. Completely. Even the television seemed quieter. Even the air. Marcus looked at her. Really looked this time. Not as someone passing through. Not as someone in trouble. But as something else entirely. Something bigger than the situation outside his door. And for the first time since this started, he realized he might not be the one protecting her. The words hung in the air longer than anything else that night. None of them stay in control. Marcus felt it settle deep. Like a truth that did not need proof. Lily looked up at him again, then back at the woman. "Then why not just say it?" she asked. Simple. Direct. The woman's eyes softened for a brief second. "Because saying it out loud changes everything," she replied. Marcus leaned slightly against the table, grounding himself. "Seems like everything already changed," he said. She nodded once. "Not like this." Outside, a car engine cut off. The sudden silence made the house feel louder. Every small sound stood out. A footstep on gravel. A door shifting. Someone repositioning. They were still there. Still waiting. Marcus glanced toward the front door. Not fear. Calculation. "They are not leaving," he said. The woman followed his gaze. "No," she answered quietly. "They are deciding who moves first." That detail landed. This was not a standoff. It was a countdown. Lily moved closer to the table now. She placed her small hands on the edge and looked at the woman again. "Are they bad people?" she asked. Marcus opened his mouth, but the woman spoke first. "They are people who believe they are right," she said. Lily frowned slightly. "That does not sound the same," she replied. The woman gave a faint nod. It is not. Marcus watched that exchange carefully. There was no panic in the woman's voice. No urgency. Just clarity. That made everything heavier. He pushed himself off the table slightly. So what is the truth they are afraid of? He asked. She looked at him. Really looked this time. Measuring whether he was ready to hear it. Then she stepped closer. It is not one thing, she said. It is a chain. Marcus stayed still. Listening. Decisions made behind closed doors. Deals that should not exist. People placed where they do not belong. Her voice stayed even. Controlled. And I was part of all of it. The room seemed to tighten around that sentence. Marcus felt it in his chest. Not shock. Not exactly. Something more complicated. Lily tilted her head. Then why did you leave? She asked. The woman paused. Just for a second. Because I saw what it was turning into, she said. And I knew I could not stay and pretend it was not happening. Marcus nodded slowly. That part made sense. Too much sense. So now both sides want you quiet, he said. She met his eyes. Yes. Simple. Final. Outside, another small shift. A shadow crossed the window for a second. Not trying to look in. Just passing by. Marcus noticed it immediately. So did she. They are getting closer, he said. She nodded. They will not wait much longer. Lily looked between them again. Then we should do something, she said. The urgency in her voice was different. Pure. Unfiltered. Marcus placed his hand on her shoulder again. We are, he said. Even if he did not know what that meant yet. The woman stepped back slightly. Creating space. Thinking. Her eyes moved around the room once. Quick. Focused. Taking everything in. Then she stopped. Her gaze landed on the small shelf near the wall. A few old books. A photo frame. Nothing important. Or so it seemed. She walked over. Picked up the frame. Studied it for a second. Marcus watched her. Confused. What are you doing? He asked. She did not answer right away. She set the frame back down exactly where it was. Then turned to him. You live a quiet life, she said. Marcus almost smiled. Used to, he replied. She nodded once. Then her expression shifted again. Back to that controlled focus. That is why this matters, she said. Marcus frowned slightly. What does? He asked. She stepped closer again. Lowering her voice. If I speak, it does not just affect them, she said. It reaches further. Marcus felt a small tension build in his chest. How far? He asked. She held his gaze. Far enough that people like you get pulled into it whether you want to or not. That landed hard. Lily looked up at him again. This time quieter. Dad, Marcus squeezed her shoulder gently. It is okay, he said. Even if it was not. Outside, a firm knock hit the front door. Louder this time. No more patience. Marcus looked at the door. Then back at the woman. She did not flinch. Not even a little. That detail said everything. They are done waiting, he said. She nodded once. Slow. Certain. So are we, she replied. Marcus took a breath. The room felt smaller. Tighter. Like everything was closing in at once. He stepped toward the door. Not opening it yet. Just standing there. Feeling the weight of it. Behind him, Lily stayed close. The woman did not move. She just watched. Calm. Ready. The knock came again. Stronger. Demanding. Marcus placed his hand on the handle. Paused. Then he turned his head slightly. If you say it, he said quietly, there is no going back. The woman's voice came steady behind him. There never was. Marcus nodded once. Then slowly, he turned the handle. The door opened just enough to let the night back in. Cold air slipped through first. Then silence. Marcus stood there, hands still on the handle, eyes adjusting to the dim light outside. The two men had not moved far. They were closer now. Closer than before. That detail mattered. The second man stood directly in front of the steps. No distance left. No space for hesitation. Time is up, he said quietly. Not loud. Not forceful. Just certain. Marcus did not answer right away. He leaned slightly into the doorway again. Holding the line without saying it. We are still talking, he replied. The second man's eyes flicked past him, trying to catch a glimpse inside. Marcus shifted just enough to block it. Small move. Important. The first man stood to the side now. Not as close. But watching everything. Calculating. Always calculating. You are making a mistake, the first man said. His voice was lower now. More controlled again. Marcus glanced at him. That seems to be a common theme tonight, he said. The second man did not react to that. His focus stayed fixed. Bring her out, he said. No more layers. No more phrasing. Just direct. Marcus shook his head once. Not happening, he said. The words came easier this time. The line was already drawn. The second man took one slow step forward. Close enough now that the porch light sharpened every detail of his face. You do not understand the scale of this, he said. Marcus held his gaze. Then explain it, he replied. A brief pause. The second man studied him again. Longer this time. Like he was deciding whether it was worth it. She carries information that destabilizes more than one system, he said. Financial. Legal. Structural. Marcus did not move. But he felt the weight of those words. Systems. Not people. Bigger than he thought. The first man stepped forward slightly. And he thinks handing her over fixes that, he added. It does not. The second man did not look at him. Not even once. It contains it, he said. Marcus caught that. Contain. Not solve. Not fix. Contain. Behind him, the woman moved closer. He could feel her presence again. Calm. Controlled. Not hiding. She stopped just behind his shoulder. Close enough to speak without raising her voice. Ask him what happens after containment, she said quietly. Marcus nodded once. Then looked back at the man. What happens after, he asked. The second man paused. That pause again. Longer this time. That is not your concern, he said. Marcus almost smiled. Seems like it is now, he replied. The first man let out a slow breath. You see it, he said, almost to himself. You are starting to see it. Marcus did not respond. He kept his eyes on the second man. Waiting. The silence stretched again. Then the second man spoke. After containment, there is review, he said. Internal. Controlled. Quiet. Marcus shook his head slightly. Quiet for who? He asked. The second man did not answer immediately. That was enough. Behind Marcus, the woman exhaled softly. Not relief. Confirmation. Lily stepped closer again. Still quiet. Still watching. Her small presence grounded the room behind him. Marcus felt it. He did not turn. He did not need to. The second man shifted his stance slightly. The patience was thinning now. "You are out of time," he said again. Marcus nodded once. "You said that already," he replied. The first man moved closer to the edge of the steps. Not stepping in. Not crossing the line. But close. "They are not the only ones coming," he said. That changed the air immediately. Marcus felt it. The second man's jaw tightened again. "Small. But real." "That is not relevant," he said quickly. The first man did not back down. "It is if he keeps that door open," he replied. Marcus glanced between them. The tension was shifting again. Not just two sides anymore. Something else was moving toward them. He could feel it. The woman stepped forward just enough to be seen from outside. Not fully. Just enough. The second man's eyes locked onto her immediately. "You do not need to do this," he said. His voice changed again. Softer. Almost persuasive. "You know how this ends." The woman met his gaze. Unblinking. "I know how it used to end," she replied. That line landed. Heavy. The first man watched her closely. Like he had been waiting for that exact sentence. Marcus felt it too. The shift. The moment turning again. The woman stepped 1 inch closer. Just enough to stand beside Marcus. Fully visible now. No hiding. No hesitation. The porch light caught her face clearly. Strong. Certain. The second man inhaled slowly. "Then you are choosing chaos," he said. The woman shook her head once. "No," she replied. Calm. Clear. "I am choosing truth." The silence that followed felt different. Not tension. Not waiting. Something else. Final. Marcus felt it settle in his chest. The second man stared at her for a long second. Then something in his expression changed. Not anger. Not frustration. Recognition. Like he had just accepted something he could not change. The first man saw it too. And for the first time, he did not speak. Marcus tightened his grip on the door slightly. The night felt heavier again. But clearer. Like the lines had finally been drawn. The woman took a breath. Then another. And when she spoke next, it was not just for the two men outside. "Then listen carefully," she said, and her voice carried past the doorway, past the men, into the dark beyond them. It did not rise. It did not shake. It simply reached. The night seemed to hold still around it. Marcus felt it in his chest. The second man did not interrupt. That was new. The first man did not move. That was new too. Even the shadows near the cars felt still. "You built a system that hides its own damage," she continued. Layer by layer. Decision by decision. Her eyes stayed forward. Not just on them. On everything beyond them. "You called it protection. You called it stability. But it was never either." The second man exhaled slowly. Not disagreement. Recognition. The first man's jaw tightened again. He knew where this was going. Marcus did not fully understand the details. But he understood the tone. This was not a guess. This was a statement. "I was there when the first threshold was crossed," she said. When risk stopped being calculated and started being transferred. Marcus felt that line settle. Transferred. Not removed. Moved. Passed along. The second man shifted his weight slightly. Not stepping back. Not stepping forward. Just adjusting. You do not need to do this here, he said quietly. She did not look at him. This is exactly where it needs to happen, she replied. Lily stood just behind Marcus now. Silent. Watching. The room behind them felt small. But steady. The woman took another breath. You created a system where failure never reaches the top, she said. It sinks. Downward. Quietly. Into people who never agreed to carry it. Marcus felt something tighten in his chest. That part he understood. Too well. The first man closed his eyes for a brief second. Just a second. Then opened them again. Stop, he said under his breath. Not loud. Not forceful. But real. She did not stop. You told yourselves it was necessary, she continued. That someone had to absorb the shock. Her voice did not change. Still calm. Still clear. But you never stayed long enough to see what it did to them. The silence that followed was heavy. Not empty. Full. The second man's gaze dropped for the first time. Just a fraction. Then lifted again. This is not the place, he said. Softer now. Less control. She shook her head once. It is the only place, she replied. Marcus felt the weight of that sentence settle deep. This was not about location. This was about witness. The first man stepped back half a step. Not retreating. Processing. Something in his posture changed. Not resistance. Something closer to acceptance. Outside, one of the cars shifted slightly. A door opened somewhere in the distance. Not close. But close enough to matter. Marcus noticed it immediately. So did she. She did not turn. She did not break. They will say I broke the system, she said. That I caused instability. That I forced exposure. The second man looked at her again. Harder now. Because you did, he said. She nodded once. Yes, she replied. No denial. No defense. Just truth. That landed. Harder than anything else. Marcus felt it. The honesty of it. Not clean. Not easy. But real. Lily shifted slightly behind him. He felt her hand brush his arm. Small. Grounding. The woman continued. But what they will not say, she added, is that the system was already breaking. Her voice lowered just a fraction. More personal. More direct. I did not create the cracks. A pause. Then she finished, I refuse to ignore them. The second man closed his eyes briefly. Then opened them again. Slower this time. The first man looked away. Not at her. Not at Marcus. Somewhere else. Like he could not hold the moment directly anymore. Marcus stood still. Between them. Between everything. He did not understand every detail. But he understood enough. Enough to know this was not just about her. Not just about them. It was about something that had been building long before tonight. The woman took one final breath. Then stepped back half a step. Not retreating. Just, finishing. The night seemed to move again. Slowly. Like it had been paused and was now catching up. The second man looked at her. Really looked this time. No strategy. No calculation. Just seeing. You cannot take that back, he said quietly. She shook her head once. I do not want to, she replied. The first man exhaled slowly. Then spoke, softer than before. Then there is no clean way out of this. She met his eyes. There never was, she said. Marcus felt the truth of that settle into the space between them. No clean way. No easy ending. Just choices. And consequences. The air shifted again. Stronger this time. The sound from down the street grew closer. Not subtle anymore. Not distant. Marcus's eyes flicked past the men. Toward the road. Headlights. More than before. The second man noticed it too. His expression changed again. Urgency returning. Real this time. The first man turned fully now. No more stillness. No more waiting. Something new was arriving. Something none of them fully controlled. Marcus felt it in his chest before he understood it. The woman followed his gaze. Then looked back at him. Just once. Now you see it, she said quietly. Marcus nodded. Slow. Certain. And then the lights reached the edge of the yard. The new headlights did not slow when they reached the yard. They flooded everything. The porch. The windows. The faces. Marcus had to narrow his eyes for a second. Too bright. Too deliberate. Doors opened almost at once. Not careful. Not quiet. Different from before. More people stepped out. More movement. More presence. The air changed instantly. The second man straightened. His calm snapped into something sharper. They moved faster than expected, he said under his breath. The first man did not respond. He was already watching the new arrivals. Fully turned now. No more attention on Marcus. No more control of the scene. The woman beside Marcus stayed still. Completely still. That detail stood out more than anything else. She was not surprised. She was ready. These are the ones you were trying to avoid, Marcus said quietly. She nodded once. Yes. Simple. Final. Lily pressed closer behind him. He felt her grip tighten again. He did not look back. He did not need to. He knew she was watching everything. The new group moved toward the house in a loose line. Not as precise as the first two groups. But more direct. More force in their movement. One man stepped ahead of the rest. Taller than the others. Slower. He did not rush. He did not need to. That alone set him apart. Marcus watched him closely. Something about the way he walked felt different. Not searching. Not reacting. Like he already knew exactly what he would find. The second man stepped forward. Positioning himself again. Not to block Marcus. To face the newcomer. The first man moved too. Closing the space between them. For the first time, both sides stood together. Not aligned. But not separate either. That was new. The tension shifted again. Three forces now. Not two. Marcus felt it in his chest. The woman took a slow breath. Then another. Her shoulders settled. Decision made. No hesitation left. The newcomer stopped at the edge of the porch. He did not step up right away. He looked at both men in front of him first. One by one. Measuring. Then his gaze moved past them. Straight to the doorway. Straight to her. No confusion. No doubt. So this is where you chose to stop, he said. His voice was calm. Not loud. But it carried weight. The woman did not step back. I did not stop, she replied. I made a choice. The man nodded once. Like he expected that answer. You always do, he said. That line carried history. Marcus felt it immediately. Deeper than the others. The second man shifted slightly. This is no longer your concern, he said. Controlled again. Trying to reclaim something. The newcomer did not look at him. It was always my concern, he replied. Simple. Certain. The first man stepped in then. You are escalating this, he said. The newcomer finally turned his head. Slowly. No, he answered. You delayed it. The words cut clean. No emotion. Just fact. Marcus felt the weight of that settle into the ground beneath them. The woman stepped forward again. Out onto the porch. Fully now. No doorway. No barrier. Just open space. She stood between all of them. Again. But this time it felt different. Not caught in the middle. Center of it. The newcomer watched her closely. Not like the others. Not calculating. Not persuasive. Just, certain. You said enough already, he said. The woman held his gaze. Not yet, she replied. The second man shook his head slightly. This is over, he said. The first man did not agree. It showed in the way he stayed still. Watching. Waiting. Marcus felt the imbalance clearly now. No one controlled this anymore. Not fully. The woman glanced back at Marcus for a second. Just a second. Then forward again. It ends when it is heard, she said. The newcomer's expression did not change. But something in his stance shifted. A fraction. Like he was adjusting to a new reality. And you think this is the place for that? He asked. The woman nodded once. It is the only place left, she replied. The silence that followed was heavier than anything before it. Not tension. Not fear. Something else. Acceptance. The second man exhaled slowly. The first man lowered his gaze briefly. The newcomer looked at her. Really looked. And for the first time, there was something else in his eyes. Not control. Not certainty. Something closer to understanding. Marcus felt it. The shift. The moment turning again. Lily's hand. Squeezed his arm. Small. Steady. Real. The woman took one final breath. Then she spoke again. Not louder. Not faster. Just clear. You built something that cannot survive truth, she said. And tonight, it does not get to hide anymore. No one interrupted. No one moved. The words settled into the space between them. Into the yard. Into the night. The engines outside idled low. Waiting. Watching. The newcomer nodded once. Slow. Measured. Then he said, then there is only one thing left to decide. Marcus felt the air tighten again. Not with fear. With inevitability. The woman did not look away. What is that? She asked. The man's gaze held hers. Unbroken. And for the first time, his voice carried something different. Not control. Not certainty. A question. Who speaks first? No one answered him. Not right away. The question did not demand speed. It demanded weight. The woman stood still in the center of it all. The porch light caught her face, steady and clear. No fear. No hesitation. Just decision. Marcus felt the moment stretch. Not breaking. Not rushing. Just holding. Lily's hand tightened around his arm again. Small. Real. Grounding him. The newcomer did not move. Neither did the other two men. For the first time, no one tried to take control. The woman exhaled slowly. Then she stepped forward. Just one step. Enough to claim the space completely. "I will," she said. Simple. No performance. The words landed with a quiet finality. Marcus felt something shift in his chest. Not tension. Release. The second man closed his eyes briefly. The first man lowered his gaze. The newcomer remained still. Watching. Listening. Accepting. The woman lifted her chin slightly. Not proud. Not defiant. Just certain. "You built layers to protect decisions that should never have been made," she said. Her voice stayed even. Calm. But it carried. "You called it structure. You called it necessity. But it was always about distance." Marcus listened closely. Every word felt deliberate. Measured. "Distance from consequence," she continued. "Distance from accountability. Distance from the people who paid the cost." The silence around her deepened. The engines outside hummed low. The night pressed closer. "I was part of that," she said. No hesitation. No excuse. "I helped design it. I helped justify it." The admission settled hard. Honest. Unprotected. The second man did not interrupt. The first man did not correct her. Even the newcomer did not respond. They all let it stand. Marcus felt the weight of that choice. To say it plainly. To not soften it. The woman took another breath. "And then I saw where it ended," she said. "Not in reports. Not in numbers. In people." Her voice lowered just slightly. "More personal. People who never agreed to carry what we shifted onto them." Marcus felt something tighten in his chest again. Not new. Familiar. The kind of truth that did not need explanation. Lily looked up at him. Then back at the woman. Quiet. Absorbing. The woman's gaze softened for a brief second when she saw her. Then it steadied again. "That is why I left," she said. "Not to break it. To stop pretending it was not already broken." The second man opened his eyes again. Slower this time. The first man exhaled quietly. The newcomer shifted his stance by a fraction. Not disagreement. Adjustment. The woman continued. "You asked who speaks first," she said. "That only matters if you think this is still about control." A pause. Then she added, "It is not." The words hung there. Clear. Unchallenged. Marcus felt the truth of it settle into the ground beneath them. No one owned this moment anymore. No one directed it. It simply existed. The woman stepped back half a step. Not retreating. Completing something. "It is about what happens after it is said," she continued. "And whether anyone is willing to listen." The newcomer nodded once. Slow. Thoughtful. The second man looked at the ground for a brief second. The first man closed his eyes again. Each of them carried the weight differently. Marcus saw that now. Clearly. Lily shifted beside him. "They heard you," she whispered softly. The woman looked at her. Really looked. And this time, she allowed a small smile to form. Not forced. Not heavy. Just real. "That is not the same as listening," she replied gently. Marcus felt something settle in him then. Something quiet. Something steady. The night did not feel as heavy anymore. Not because the danger was gone. But because something had changed inside it. The tension had broken. Not into chaos. Into truth. The woman turned her gaze back to the men. Not challenging. Not asking. Just present. The newcomer took a slow breath. Then another. Then we decide what comes next, he said. The second man nodded once. The first man did not argue. Marcus watched all of it. The shift. The silence. The strange calm that followed something that should have been louder. Bigger. But was not. Because it did not need to be. The woman stepped back into the doorway. Into the light. Into the small space that had held more truth than any boardroom ever could. Marcus stepped aside slightly. Not to let her pass. To stand beside her. Equal. Present. Lily slipped her hand into his. Warm. Steady. Real. The engines outside began to quiet one by one. Not all at once. Slowly. Like something unwinding. The night did not end. But it changed. And as the silence settled again, softer this time, Marcus realized something he had not expected: this was never about who came to take her.